Hey, YouTube, nice to see you again on a Monday. Doug, we both forgot it was Monday today,
And after my Sunday was so great, I didn't want it to be over.
right?
Yeah, so
Right? You
yeah.
were out golfing this weekend.
Yeah, we had a blast on Sunday and it was a great time. And it was with a friend who's also an investor in Otherverse. He's an investor in Digibot and True Badger. And so it was really a good time to catch up and catch him up on where everything is. And
Nice.
and we hung out with the wives and had a little dinner and yeah,
Good
it
for
was a great
you.
time to catch them up. So
Good for you.
good,
I
good
always
time.
like to hear when you're away from your computer. It makes me
Yeah,
happy. It makes my heart sing when you get
yeah,
away.
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
If there's any investors or anybody out there that ever wants to get caught up, come play golf.
Come play
So
golf, right? That's the way to do
that's
it.
it. That's it.
Well, I was looking at Bitcoin this morning and I see that a lot of the coins are simply channeling in that zone. We just go up and then we go down and then we go
Wow.
up and you know what? That's my favorite thing to see.
That's
Um,
how money's made.
because that's how we trade, right? If
Right.
it's not going up and down, we're not trading.
Right. I haven't looked yet this morning,
Ooh,
so you're ahead of me. I've been getting other stuff done, but let's have a look and yeah, look at that. Yeah, staying in that range. We talked about that, I think, a couple times over the last week, why this could be happening. And yeah. In fact, it even looks like it's tightening up a little bit, you know, for those that are,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, for those that are trading, it almost looks like definitely a consolidation. Slightly lower lows here, slightly lower highs here. Means that consolidation could come back down a little bit. We're seeing that. And it would be almost like what some traders would call a modified flag pattern. Not really a true flag pattern, but is looking a little bit that way. Um, definitely, yeah, definitely a potential head and shoulders here drop down. Yeah, it's definitely looking like lower lows, lower highs and lower lows. So that's a weakening pattern, which means that we could come back down and find a base again and try again, Deb, and keep this pattern up for you for a while.
Yeah. It's hard to say that $50,000 Bitcoin would be a nice clearance price because I'm a fan of 6,000 if we're being honest, but I do like to see when coins go on sale and it's a higher sale, but it's a sale nonetheless. If Bitcoin does what the majority of the people out there are saying that it could possibly do, that's a pretty good
It, it
sale.
yeah, it's at some point this is going to be a ridiculously low price.
Mm.
Right now, it doesn't feel that way, right? But that's why cost averaging is so important. That's why accumulation is so important. You take advantages of the deeper dips. If you buy up here and it does come down, you buy a deeper dip, you average this down, and now, so you bought at 58 and drops a bunch, and so your average becomes 47 or 45 or something. Whatever that allows you to do, it's all about accumulation. So
Love
yeah,
it.
never a bad
Love it.
thing.
Never a bad thing.
Yeah.
Excellent. Oh,
So,
well, if I think back to Friday, that seems like forever ago. But I think you added a trade, you added to a trade on Filecoin, and then you were trying to determine what to do with Dot, and we stopped just before you pulled the trigger with Dot because you were saying, well, normally I would do X.
yes.
And that's when I said, "Eh."
Yeah. And I was going to force it. And you, as my uh,
Advisor.
coach, my my online social
Your
emotional
guru,
coach,
right?
kept me from going against what I know I shouldn't do. So let's look at file real quick because I haven't looked at
Yeah,
that, and see where we're at.
sure, sure. And while you're pulling this up, I do want to remind everybody that we're not financial advisors, and this channel is for educational purposes only. So we are simply teaching you how to trade and showing you how well our platform nSights works for us in determining when to trade and what to trade. Also, our Digibot platform has gone through a revamp and we'll be relaunching that very soon. It's going to have many of the same elements that you see on nSights. We're going to be able to trade on Digibot in the centralized environment. So if you like to trade with Kraken, that's attached to Kraken. This is DeFi, so we're out using MetaMask to load up our mid wallets.
Right.
All right, back to you, Doug.
Yeah, so we're doing the same thing. We're fairly flat right at our entry, right? And so and we see that. Look at that. We're just almost right at break even, right?
Right.
So so file is okay entry. If Bitcoin does roll over, which is showing that pressure, we just talked about that. This might come down a little bit. If it comes down a lot, I would cost average it. If it comes down a little bit, I'll leave it alone. So,
Sure.
all right. Excuse me. Dot is the question.
That is the question.
And if we look at Friday was the 16th. We go back to the 16th. Let me get a vertical here. We're slightly higher. So there's nothing that I really want to do with DOT either at this point. Because I think Bitcoin could, roll over. We could come back down and I could get a better entry in DOT. And if I'm going to play, that's what I want.
Okay.
So what else is there for me to potentially do? And
Well, I think the other thing before on Wednesday or Friday, it was Wednesday, you said if I don't see something on any of my current charts that I want to do, then I'll go looking for a new coin. And on Friday, it felt like DOT might be something you wanted to do. But now that we are where we are, you can make a decision to do something with DOT or maybe look for a new coin.
Well, I think I will do a little bit with DOT. Maybe we're going to look at this cost average here and see if there's anything that I can do to help that number a little bit. And then maybe we'll look at for a new coin real quick. So let's look at this. I've got 2 in. I'm at 100 plus. So, and if I look at this trade.
Oh, that's right. And the reason I had forgotten exactly what got us hung up on Friday. The reason you didn't pull the trigger is because you only had 50 to put on and
Yes,
your previous trades were higher than that. And it
that's
wouldn't have
right.
made as much of a difference in your
Impact.
cost average. Yeah, it
That's
wouldn't
right.
have had as much impact.
Right. And here's the one that we're looking at doing. And so I'm going to put a line here so we can go to the current market and kind of see that, crunch it up a little bit. And now we'll see that where we're down. Okay, so I need to, so going to the mid wallet, I can see that I don't have enough to manage that in a way. So I got to add money to this, Deb. So let's do that.
Okay.
So I need to make a deposit, which I'm going to need to connect to my wallet.
So two things that Doug could do in this situation where he feels like he wants more money to trade with. Two things he could do. The first thing is to deposit more BUSD from his external MetaMask wallet. Or there's actually three things. If he has BNB in his external mid wallet, he can buy BUSD on the way in with his BNB, or he can look right here and see if he has tokens sitting here that he's not doing anything with that he might want to trade for BUSD or swap for BUSD so that he can trade with that BUSD. And I think you actually did that on Friday.
I did. I moved some of it over.
You did. You sure did.
But for today's lesson, let's just transfer in because we've
Depositing.
already shown this, and maybe I'll go in and close these out at another time
Sure.
and use those. So So if I'm going to deposit, and there's a couple of different ways to do this. One, I want to make sure I'm connected to the wallet that I'm using, and this is the wallet ending in EF5 in my MetaMask, because to get money in and out of my account, Deb, is I've got to use the same wallet.
Yes.
And so somebody can't come in and hack my account, because they would end up having to transfer it to my wallet, which they don't have access to.
Right.
So can't get to it. So
Very
anyways,
secure.
yeah. So and I know that I have BUSD in that wallet. So if I hit deposit, it says deposit BUSD, and I hit that, wallet's not connected. It's going to warn you that it's not connected. Okay. So I need to connect that wallet first. So I'm going to go connect MetaMask. And I want to get the one that ends in, and this is the part that I think it's this one here. Next, confirm. Okay, go back, connect, go back to MetaMask. EF5. Okay, so I'm connected. All right, so let's go here and let's go deposit. Deposit BUSD. It tells me I got $309. I'm going to do the max, just bring it all in. Deposit that. It'll come over here. We'll have to confirm it. It always gives you this warning. Okay. Hit next and approve. Confirm.
We're going to see that balance go from $54 to $363.
Wow. Wow, you're doing quick
You see
math.
that math?
I'm just like, it's Monday, Deb.
I know. Wow. There it is.
There,
$363. Look at that.
there you go. Bam. Okay. So now let's go back. And it
Now
was
you have,
DOT that we were looking at, right?
yes, it was dot. Now you have something to work with.
Yeah, I got playroom. Woo. All right. So let's look at, we know we're 25% negative. The more times we cost average, the harder it gets to pull down, because there's more weight or more money needed to cost average it down. If I look at $122 is basically what I have in this grid for this line. So I'm going to, in this case, I'm going to at least match this number or greater than this number to get this to pull down any significant amount. Now, I have to realize, just like I've done the analysis, that Bitcoin could roll over. We're making higher lows and lower and lower highs.
Lower highs. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, it's rolling over. Okay, potentially. That could drop us a little bit. This could be a little bit premature, but I'm okay with that, because I'm going to bring it down and get it within range that even if it rolls over and bounces a little bit, that it could get me out in profit. That's the key. Now, if it drops a lot, I just got to be ready to do this again, right? And at $100 to 125, $150, I'm okay with that with DOT, because I believe in the technology that DOT is. Okay. Now, if I was doing some meme coin that just came out and it was just social hype and stuff, and it was up high in the market, and how most of those roll over and go back down to their bottom. Well, when they get back down to their bottom, they do become tradable again. Okay. But when I'm up in that upper range in a coin that doesn't have really strong utility and strong community, you need both of those things to, I think, be tradable on a consistent basis. Strong community by itself, yes, tradable in the right places. strong community plus utility makes it more tradable all the way around. So
Right.
a little bit more aggressive in those than I would be in the others. So, okay, I'm going to hit this. I'm going to add a manual trade because I got the auto cost averaging turned off because we're in that point where we could roll over and I want to be in control. Now, if I just didn't want to touch this, I would set up a very conservative auto cost averaging, maybe with a trailing buy that just managed it all on its own and I didn't have to do anything. Okay. But I like the hands-on stuff, Deb.
Right.
I'm old school. I developed something that's automated. Okay. Yeah. So anyways, here we go. I'm going to do manual.
The automation is fabulous for the people who just either don't understand how to trade or don't care to take the time or
Right.
don't have the time to actually look at the charts, right? So we've got it automated for those who just want to set it and forget it. It'll take care of you,
Yeah.
which
And
I
really,
love,
Deb, the only time I put into these charts is when we're on calls. I don't ever look at this account,
right?
I don't. So, and I end up talking a lot. So if you thought about it that I just came in to manage it, I could do it in a few minutes, right?
Right.
So it doesn't take a lot of time.
No, it doesn't. We built something pretty special here.
It's wonderful. I wish I had something like this back when I was doing Forex, but then Forex was leverage trading and you could trade it non-leverage, but Forex didn't have the same upside, the X factor that we talk about that crypto has. So
Right.
even if it was 1-to-1 in Forex, it's not the same game at all. So what am I doing? Can't put in the, that was going to be a lot of money.
$3,000.
Yeah. Okay, submit. I'm doing 150, the 122, so I did slightly more. I was at 25% negative. We're going to see what this does to it. And in one of the future versions, I'd really like to be able to go in and build an estimator how far it would drop this 25%. So that you could
Yeah,
put in a number here and say, okay, it's going to make it 8% or 6% or 2% or 15%. So you would know where you were at
right.
without having to do this. So that would be a great enhancement. But I knew it'd bring us down quite a bit. It brought it in about half. And so we're
Now,
down to 12%.
was it the first one or the second one that you just added?
Second one. Yeah.
Okay.
And see, you can see the amount here really increased.
Oh, sure it did. Sure
Yeah.
did. So go
And
ahead, Dale, let's have a look at that because this is worth repeating.
let's
See
see
where that
here.
dropped it to.
There's your green dot. Here's your yellow dot. And it dropped. Now, if we look at it in relationship to the current market, put it on our yellow dot here, almost down to where the other one is,
Mhm.
where it was, twice, it was double what the other one was.
Very nice. So let's
Yeah.
open up and look at your actual trade on the green box.
Yeah. And we'll do that, but before I
Sure.
get there, what I would have liked to have seen is for this to have come down inside this range. But I put in as much as that I wanted to put in at this point because it could roll over and I may need to do it again. So I didn't want to go in with 175 or some really big number to get it down in here. Uh, I'd rather see it play out and, maybe bounce back up and get slightly above this and, get our profit, wherever we're going to try to take that profit.
Yeah.
Okay. Where did you want to go, hon?
And when we're done with this, I want you to click back on dot so we can see the black dot that just came in because that's not appearing yet on there.
Yeah. I had to
Um,
refresh the screen.
yeah. So let's go look at the all of your trades that you've added to this original trade.
And here they are.
Yeah. Okay. So as you can see his original trade. Your original trade was for $12.50.
Yes.
Okay.
And see, but that makes a very good point though. I knew I was high in the market and I went in really light.
Yeah, sure.
And I still have been able to add just in case it did take off and go from there. I would have made a little bit of money,
Sure.
depending on that was appropriate for this account size.
Right.
If I'm trading a $10,000 or $20,000 account, that wouldn't have been appropriate for that account size. But for this
Exactly.
account size, that was a right ratio and appropriate. But it also gave me the ability as it drops to really add a decent amount to DOT. And
Yes.
now if it does bounce and goes up, I make a nice return on
Right.
this account
Absolutely.
size. So,
So in June, you put $75, added an additional $75 onto that first trade for 12.50,
mhm,
and it dropped the price at which the market has to get to give you profit, right?
right.
And then you went in August, just a couple of weeks ago, I guess we were playing with this account,
Yes.
and you added an additional $35 to it,
Which
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 dropped
which
it a
wasn't
little bit more.
which wasn't an appropriate amount. We were demoing,
Mhm.
in most cases I would have at least matched this number.
Right.
But, we were doing our demoing like we do. So
Playing,
it was an
playing and
inappropriate
training.
amount. And I saw that when I looked at it a few minutes
Mhm.
ago. So in this case, I overdid this one a little bit
Right. So you
to
kind of made up
balance that.
for
Balance that.
exactly to balance that out. So it's important when you're cost averaging, it's important to remember to not put all of your money in on that first cost average, right? Because if the market continues to drop, which a lot of times it does, you'll be able to then add a little bit more. Your increment should be a little bit more each time you're going to do your cost averages as it goes down. And that'll really help bring that first trade down to a place where if the market goes up just a little bit, it's going to get you out in profit. And Doug, what I love about this is
Hmm.
when the market gets you out in profit, when the market goes up and it gets you out, it's getting you out in profit on all of that money,
Oh
not
yeah.
just the
Yeah. Oh yeah.
$12.50,
And,
right? So
and
that 5% you're looking for is on everything you put in.
and that's the idea of cost
Yeah.
averaging, right? It
Yeah.
allows you to get really the amount of money that you want into a trade, into the trade. And I had to almost giggle there for a second, Deb, when you said, and the market does drop. And I got to thinking, well, we are talking about crypto. So,
Right.
you
Like
know,
a rock sometimes.
yeah, it just, which is people think that's negative, but I keep saying that is the positive thing about crypto because it does what you like, Deb. When it does drop, it bounces,
It
right? So,
bounces. Yeah.
so if you're patient with it and do the money management correct, you can really take advantage of this market because it is predictable. If you're at a high, you know it's going to drop. At some point you're going to get a blue light special, Deb.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so,
And
you
as
know,
long as you're trading a coin that makes sense, right?
right,
Some of these coins that come out and it's all hype and excitement and everybody jumps in and people are still buying on the high. And
right,
then those original people in start selling off all their tokens and it tanks. And sometimes those
right.
aren't going to come back. So if it's a coin you believe in, then you can feel pretty good about there it's going to bounce.
Right.
Gonna
And
bounce.
even if you do that, you make that mistake, we have an answer for that because, we have things like other verse where we can take a negative coin that's really dropped, take some of the money that's still in that, put it into a potential utility that has a multiple X factor of going up and recover all of that money. And so what we end up doing is switching one utility for another, right? So we're trading X and now we're trading Y and we hold those positions. So we have an answer for that. And it's important in the crypto space to have an answer for those things
Right.
because not everything's going to be here tomorrow, or a year from now, and we're going to have those things that happen. And if you don't have a trading answer for that, then you're just going to end up having a lot of massive losses. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
and there's no reason for that. Okay, you wanted to see the black dot,
Yeah, let's see if a refresh will
and
bring
just
that to the
refresh that.
surface. And guys, after we hit that refresh button, nSights is saying, okay, which coin do you want to look at? So we have to then go down to your grid and tell it which coin. Click on
Just
dot.
click on the
There it
icon.
is. I see it.
Boom, 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 boom. And we can go back to our original trade back here somewhere. There it is. So we dropped it all the way down to here. We moved our cost averaging down to here. And our green dot, which is the second one here, we already had this one. We can see we're just right above the market. So that was a good cost average. I like
Yeah.
where it is. We'll see if it drops now. For me to want to cost average that again, to be really, really clear, if it just drops down to this barrier here, that's 15%. I'm not interested. Okay. Because I'm not going to get enough out of it. It's going to have to hold this range, come back up and retest up here or above here, right? And actually above here, because we're right at the top of this range with that cost averaging. So it'd have to try to get back up in this range for me to get out in profit on that trade.
Mhm.
If I wanted to trade, if I thought it was going to hold this range for a while, Deb, if it came down here and Bitcoin's starting to go up and we're going to hold this range, my option, because I'm going to be in these trades maybe for a little while, would be to add an additional line here.
Sure. And
And
additional
then
grid
start
line.
making profit in this range, and then
Right.
let that close out, and then at some point come up and close these out. So
So
I
by
don't get
that, sorry. So by
no.
that, what you would do is you would add a grid line and you would say when the market pulls back to that range, whatever that range is down there, then buy a new trade. Is that what you're
buy a
saying?
new, yeah,
Yeah.
buy a new trade, and then create a short-term environment, right? A
Yeah.
short-term trade environment that I'm trading this range, right?
Sure.
I'm taking advantage of if it sets up and holds here, shows me some buy pressure. And if I looked at, my trading view charts and I could see that buy pressure come in, I could see
Mhm.
Bitcoin responding to up pressure after it came down to the 57s, 56 range. If it got down there and try to bounce and hold that range, then I would maybe do a buy here.
Mhm.
And then because from here up, right, if I take this low, I have a decent range of about 30% to
Wow.
make money in this range.
Yes.
And all the time I'm holding these two cost averages, which is no big deal. I don't care. At some point I'll break this, or it'll go deeper and I'll cost average them down. I'll get those out in profit because, again, I believe in the utility. I
Right.
believe in the coin. So we got to think in an outside the box thought pattern where I'm never stuck. As long as I haven't over traded, as long as I haven't traded too much money in the wrong places, and people do that, Deb. But as long as I don't do that, then I have a lot of options, and
Right.
I have a lot of flexibility, and personally that feels really good. That's
Yeah.
what I want. So anyways, that is it for today, Deb. Anything you want to add?
Love it. No, I don't think so. Just that, the one thing I do want to add is with Otherverse, we still are in pre-sale over there. We're still at the 0.055 price. If you get on over there and if you haven't bought in round two, you're going to see that you actually get more tokens for your purchase as long as you purchase within an hour of hitting that link. So to find the pre-sale, guys, go to our website. It's nSights DeFi Trader.io. Or if you have an nSights platform, you can use the Otherverse page and there's a direct link to the platform over there or to the Otherverse pre-sale. Also want to mention, if you do use that link from our website, you're going to get even more tokens because Doug and Peter have generously decided to give away tokens to everybody who comes in during the pre-sale. They did it in the first round. They extended that to round 2. But it's worth noting that this pre-sale is going to be over very, very quickly. So make the decision today to go get your coins and get it done today. If you need any help, you can go into our Discord and you can ask for some help in there and somebody can point you in the right direction. I should say, Candace will point you in the right direction. Please never, ever assume that you're talking to Candace or me or Doug from inside of Discord or anywhere else. You always need to verify that you are truly talking to us because we have scammers that like to pretend they're us. And you don't want to get messed up with that. But go into our Discord, say it, always stay in the regular chat, never go offline into a private conversation with somebody, stay in the room, and then others can see what you're asking and can help answer in the room. Right. Goodness, that was a lot of information.
A lot of information.
Well, that was awesome. Thank you so much, Doug. Appreciate you. We're going to come back on Wednesday.
Yeah, maybe we'll see what Dot has done.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
I think that's a good idea. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you then.